Welcome back everyone. In this tutorial we are going to learn about loops in Python. So first here we are going to create this list. We call this list X with these values. Shift enter inside this list and we got this list created. And we have several types of loops here in Python. The first one is for loop. To create a for loop we type for I is a variable in X. So I will take all the values in X, and after X we type here colon, and the command below for loop is indented to the right, shifted to the right. So that's how we type this syntax in Python. And the purpose of creating loops is to execute a certain command several iterations based on the counter we add here. So because I in X, I will take all the values in X, and we have here how many values? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means this for loop has 9 iterations. Each time I will take a value from X and print it. Let's execute this command. And as you see here, we printed here all I values. In each iteration, I took a certain value from X. Also, we can make I in for loop iterate in a range, and we can determine this range. For example, this range here is from 1 to 10. In other words, I will take all the values from 1 to 10 and will be printed. So shift enter, and as you see here, we got I printed from 1 to 9 after taking all the values from 1 to 10. And keep in mind, number 10 here is excluded, is not included inside this range. So last value always is excluded. We can use here if condition with for loop. First for b in X our list that we have, colon, and again we need to indent to shift the command below for to the right. So we type here if b greater than 10, print b. So we need to print all the values in that list greater than 10. And again we indent the command below if. So print b belongs to if, and if belongs to 4. Let's execute this cell, and as we see here we got all the values greater than 10. And this is another example to use for loop to print only the even numbers. This is the list, and for b in y list, which is this list, and in if condition we typed here b reminder 2 is 0. If b reminder 2 is 0, print b. We mean here that when any value here in this list divided by 2 has a reminder of 0, print that value, which means this value is even. So shift enter, and as we see here we got only even numbers printed in this list. And we have here another loop function which is while, and in while we need to use a counter. So for example, before typing while we need to add or to create here a counter, and the counter I equals 0, and while I less than len of x, print xi. I equal I plus 1. So in while loop we need to add a number in each iteration until we not meet this condition. Otherwise this loop will stay forever, infinity. So keep in mind we need to have a counter. So I equals 0, while I less than len x, print xi, the index x with this index, and we added 1. So each time we add 1 until we reach to a point I will not be less than len of x. And in this point, this loop will stop. So click here in this list, shift enter, and here we go. We got all the numbers in that list, X list, printed here. And we got something here in Python very useful, which is function. We can create a function in Python, and we can call this function in any part of our code to execute what's inside that function. For example, to create a function, we type first def we can give a name for that function, any name we want. Between parentheses, we add the parameters if that function has a parameter, and colon, and again anything below this function should be shifted to the right, should be intended to the right, and return a plus 2. So this function add 2 to each parameter we add. To call this function, we just need to type print the name of the function with the parameter. So when we add 3, that means 3 plus 2 will equal 5. So the result of print addition 3 is 5. Shift enter and we got 5. And here, for example, I'm creating another function, calling it appending t, the parameter, return x, append t. In other words, I need to add another value to our x list, and we are going to decide or determine this value when we call this function. So def appending t, this is the name appending, the name of the function, t the parameter, colon, return x append t. And here I'm calling this function by typing the name of the function, and the parameter here is 111. Let's first look at the x list before appending this value. So let's go up. These are values inside this list. Let's now execute this code, and let's now see x again. Shift enter. And as you see here, this number 111 has been added to the list. So this is a quick introduction how to create loops and functions in Python.